Mountain, Barone is squeezed like a sausage into an elastic space-age suit. Tested in a wind tunnel, it's designed to allow him to steer by surfing air currents. Weighted stabilizers on his arms and legs add balance. Then there's the helmet.
The helmet was special. It was made of fiberglass entirely by hand and shaped so it could cover as much of the shoulders as we could. It was designed especially for him and was as smooth aerodynamically as possible.
First, Barone makes a test run with a standard off-the-shelf mountain bike, the kind available in any bike store. A tiny camera on board shows it's not a smooth ride. The bike and the rider endure a lot of shocks on the gravelly slope. Incredibly, Barone smashes his own record by going 101 miles per hour. He wasn't even trying for a record on this run. His crew is thrilled. Then it's time for the main event. Barone will now ride down the volcano on the custom-built superbike he created for speed on snow. The one that did 137 miles an hour. It's not your father's Huffy.
His bikes were based on Formula One race cars, disc brakes, and carbon fiber. They didn't exist anywhere in bikes before that.
The bike features a computer-designed frame that's aerodynamic, lightweight, and completely revolutionary for its time. A solid rear wheel reduces wind turbulence. There's a motorcycle shock absorber and disc brakes, because normal bike brakes don't work at 120 miles an hour.
It costs a fortune to build bikes like this. There is no price tag. You can't even count the cost for the hours that go into each individual piece of the bike.
Finally, the Red Baron starts his run. It takes about 8 seconds for the bike to reach its maximum speed, 107 miles an hour. Another world record. Then, catastrophe.
He passed the chronometer and had broken the record. It was incredible. That's when he took his fall. No one saw him move. I didn't see him move. I thought, he's dead.
It was a run for the record books. French bicycle champion Eric Barone rockets down the side of a volcano at 107 miles per hour. When suddenly, disaster. First, he shatters the world speed record. Then, his bike shatters. Barone's helmet flies off as he's thrown nearly the length of a football field, slamming again and again into hard, abrasive lava. It's like being catapulted from a car at over 100 miles per hour onto a gravelly road. All his girlfriend Hani can do is watch helplessly in utter horror.
I was frozen. I cried. I was paralyzed. I didn't know what to do. I saw him turning over like that. I could only say to myself, I have lost my love.
Everyone thinks he's dead, and there is no ambulance, no doctor, no helicopter standing by. Then suddenly Eric moves. He looks like he's been through a meat grinder. It takes an hour and a half to get Barone to a hospital. He has 6 broken ribs, a fractured femur, torn muscles all over his body, and a dislocated shoulder. But he's alive.
I had a lot of pain in my stomach, and I thought if my kidneys had been ruptured, then I would be bleeding internally and would die.
It takes Eric 5 years to fully recover, but he still has no memory of his spectacular wipeout.
The last thing I remember is that I took off on the run, and the next thing I remember, I was on the ground.
The culprit? A failure in the head tube, the critical part of the bike that holds the handlebar shaft, as well as the front wheel assembly. All those vibrations and a slight bump in the road as the slope of the volcano leveled out shattered it, breaking the bike in half.
At 75 miles per hour, I was doing fine. At 87, it was fine too. But at 107, the bike began shaking. And the compression from the change in inclination caused the tube to explode. I didn't see anything. It was like I was fired out of a bazooka and flew 300 feet.
That crazy-looking suit, padded with shock-absorbing foam, may have softened the blow. But the heavy lead stabilizers in the arms and legs flew around during the fall, twisting and tossing Barone like a crash test dummy. Eric Barone retired from setting speed records after that. He recovered from his fall, married Hani, and settled down. But 2 years later, they both went back up to the summit.
I got to the top, I looked down, and I saw a void. I looked around and asked myself if I had really ridden down that slope. I must have been absolutely crazy.